Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily D. Today's topic is overcoming a challenge. Now, you've heard me say maybe challenges over problems so many days, so many times, so many events. So I wanted to share with you this concept of overcoming a challenge, especially something that's related very personal to you. For an example, something that you're personally going through a relationship challenge or a physical health challenge or a financial challenge. We're all going through some challenges now. It's really not. I can't see your challenges. You can't see mine. You don't know what I stress about. I don't know what you stress about. But I can tell you this: the one thing that I've learned through challenge is that any challenge can be overcome with the right mindset. We've talked about mindset before, but here's what it comes down to when I think about how to overcome challenges. You see, I believe the way that we get through challenges is by helping others get through their challenges. I feel that when I've ever seen the biggest growth in my life, and as far as a challenge is concerned, for an example, if I had a financial challenge, well, when somebody asks you for or tells you about their financial challenge, try to help them through it. You see, you learn every time you teach something, you learn. You see, I don't believe that we get everything we hear, because I know for a fact that I've heard so many things so many times, and it probably took the 100th time it finally clicked for me. It finally, oh man, that makes sense now, right? But I've heard it so many times. So why is that? Well, it just, you know, I think it's Buddha who says, when the student is ready, a teacher will appear. Well, I've learned that if I keep on teaching something, eventually it'll hit me too. And I say that because, when I teach something, it's typically because I need it the most. When I tell you about a challenge and I'm going through, or that you can overcome, it's typically because I'm going through a challenge that I need to overcome. When I tell you about a sale that is hard to get, it's typically because I'm having trouble making a sale in my life. When I tell you about stress, it's typically because I have stress in my life. You see, I share with you exactly what I'm going through because it helps me coach myself through it. Every time I've ever had a challenge, if I could coach somebody else through the same challenge, it helps me learn better. It helps me attain more. You get those epiphanies or those aha, I get it now moments. You're not gonna ever overcome a challenge unless, number one, you practice and practice and practice till you can't do it anymore. And the second thing is, you have to, take the experience and run with it. So I'll give you an example. There are many people today who are fighting an illness. It's called COVID-19. Everybody knows about it. It's not anything that's unpopular or whatever. And so there's so many people out there who fighting this illness, either through at home, right, or in the hospital. And that's a sad thing, right? It's a sad thing. But some people will go through it and say, that didn't do nothing to me. Life goes on. Some people go into the hospital, they'll beat it, and they'll come out and say, life goes on. And some people will hit it and say, I hope this never happens to me again. And it won't, because I'm going to change. Because if it hit you hard, just to be clear, if COVID hits you hard, and harder is, to me, is defined as hard, more than a cough, right? If you have chest pains, headaches, if it incapacitates you, if it stops you from moving, if it for 1 minute stops you from doing something that you need to get done, then it hits you harder than it needed to hit you. And that tells me that you have an underlying health condition, or you're in poor health, you're out of shape. That's what it tells me. And because it tells me that, whoever gets that, whoever has those effects, they should fight this and say, this should never happen to me again. It's a challenge that I will never face again because I've learned through it. I grew through this. I didn't go through it. I grew through it. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but some people have to hear it. So how do you get through it? When somebody else has it, you coach them through it so you don't have to do it again. You work with them. You tell them what they should do. For an example, if somebody tells me they're battling an illness right now, what I do, good morning, what I do is I tell them, hey, you got to take your vitamins, you got to drink your water, you got to drink the juice, you got to eat better, get more greens in your system, right? I coach people through that. Now, it's not because I'm some scientist or doctor or something. It's just because it's common sense to me. Get some exercise, walk, do some jumping jacks, some push-ups, some air squats, get the blood moving, go and move, because stagnation, if you stagnate, you will die. If you leave water sitting, it will grow mold, it will grow bacteria, it will die. Moving water is what keeps fresh. So how do I get through COVID? I help somebody through COVID. How do I overcome sales challenges? I help somebody through a sales challenge. And every time that I help somebody, I grow through it. Every time I go through something, I grow through it. How do we do that? I'm telling you, very simply put, don't let any experience go without having a seed of growth through it. Don't let challenges, any challenge that somebody else or yourself is facing, be an unlearned lesson. Take them, learn from them. Remember, anytime something hits you, you got to fight back. You got to say never again, never again. You see, that's what happens when the greatest of people today, the people that we admire either in business or in health, wealth, or even relationships, they went through the rock bottom of times before they got to the top. And they went through some really tough things. And you know what happened when they hit those tough things? They said, no more. I will never go through this again. There will never be a time where I'll be this broke. There'll never be a time where I'm this unhealthy. There'll never be a time where I'll put my relationship in jeopardy. There will never be a time where my business will fail. There will never be a time where I'll go bankrupt. There will never, ever, ever be a time. Why? Because I won't allow that to happen, because I grew through that. I didn't go through it. So overcoming challenges is all about growing through things. It's all about coaching others through things. It's always about learning through other people's experience. I hope this helps you. I wish you health, wealth, success, but most importantly, freedom. Thanks, guys.